Good evening and welcome. You're watching Left, Right and Centre. I'm Vishnu Shom. On the programme tonight, Prime Minister Narendra Modi speaking in Parliament over unrelenting opposition chants targeting him over the Adani Group, said the lotus, which is the BJP symbol, will bloom no matter how much mud you throw at us. He added, "You all have an equal role in making the lotus bloom. We wish to thank the opposition." As soon as the Prime Minister started his speech, opposition members rushed to the centre of the House and loudly demanded a joint parliamentary committee investigation into allegations against the Adani Group. But the Prime Minister kept talking, mostly on the development agenda of his government and how that compared with what the Congress had done in the past. On the show tonight, the Prime Minister's punch, his development punch at the Parivar versus opposition. Protests for a probe. The Prime Minister's punch against the Parivar, the extended Gandhi family as it were, versus opposition protests for a probe. That's what we're looking at first. Later on the show, in an election year in Karnataka, it is the politics of Tipu Sultan versus the right-wing ideologue Veer Savarkar, which appear to be key to the BJP's political agenda. This, along with communal remarks and references to love jihad, appear to be setting this agenda, despite statements by the Prime Minister urging everyone to be inclusive, and by the RSS chief, who said just a few days back that no one should bear malice to people of different faiths. On the show, Karnataka's Tipu versus Savarkar election, the Prime Minister says Sabka Saath, while local BJP leaders raise communal issues. But first, let's take a look at some of the key comments mentioned by the Prime Minister in his huge attack on the Congress party, this time on the floor of the Rajya Sabha.
ये भी दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण है, इतने महत्वपूर्ण सदन में कुछ लोगों का व्यवहार, कुछ लोगों की वाणी न सिर्फ सदन को लेकिन देश को निराश करने वाली रही। इस प्रकार की वृत्ति प्रवृत्ति के माननीय सदस्यों को मैं यही कहूंगा, कीचड़ उसके पास था, कीचड़ उसके पास था, मेरे पास गुलाल। जो भी जिसके पास था उसने दिया उछाल। और अच्छाई है, जितना कीचड़ उछालोगे कमल उतना ही ज्यादा खिलेगा। कांग्रेस के परिवार ने, हो सकता है उनका इरादा मजबूत नींव बनाने का हो, मैं उस पर कोई टिप्पणी करना नहीं चाहता, लेकिन 2014 के बाद आकर के मैंने देखा कि उन्होंने गड्ढे ही गड्ढे कर दिए थे। देश की जनता देख रही थी कि समस्या का समाधान कितना बड़ा लाभ कर सकता है, लेकिन उनकी प्रायोरिटीज अलग थी, उनके इरादे अलग थे और उसके कारण किसी भी बात का परमानेंट सॉल्यूशन का प्रयास नहीं किया। हमारी सरकार की पहचान जो बनी है वो हमारे पुरुषार्थ के कारण बनी है। एक के बाद उठाए गए कदमों के कारण बनी हुई, और आज हम परमानेंट सॉल्यूशन की दिशा में आगे बढ़ते रहे हैं। हमें बहुत मेहनत करनी पड़ी और वो रास्ता हमने चुना है सैचुरेशन का। हर योजना के जो लाभार्थी हैं 100% लाभ कैसे पहुंचे, 100% लाभार्थियों को लाभ पहुंचे, बिना रोक टोक के लाभ पहुंचे। और मैं कहता हूं, अगर सच्चा पंथ निरपेक्षता है तो यही है, सच्चा सेक्युलरिज्म है तो यही है। और सरकार उस राह पर बड़ी ईमानदारी के साथ चल पड़ी है। सैचुरेशन तक पहुंचने का मतलब होता है भेदभाव की सारी गुंजाइशें खत्म करना और समाज के आखिरी व्यक्ति को, जो आखिरी पंक्ति में खड़ा हुआ व्यक्ति है और महात्मा गांधी जिसकी हमेशा वकालत करते थे, उसके अधिकारों की रक्षा इसके अंदर समाहित होती है और हम उसको सुनिश्चित करते हैं कि चलो भाई, हमसे कभी छूट जाता होगा नेहरू जी का नाम और छूट जाता होता होगा, हम ठीक भी कर लेंगे क्योंकि वो देश के पहले प्रधानमंत्री थे। लेकिन मुझे ये समझ नहीं आता है कि उनकी पीढ़ी का कोई व्यक्ति नेहरू सरनेम रखने से डरता क्यों है? क्या शर्मिंदगी है नेहरू सरनेम रखने से? क्या शर्मिंदगी है? कुछ लोगों को समझना होगा, ये सदियों पुराना देश सामान्य मानवी के पसीने और पुरुषार्थ से बना हुआ देश, जन जन की पीढ़ियों की परंपरा से बना हुआ देश है। ये देश किसी परिवार की जागीर नहीं है।
All right, so a huge attack there by the Prime Minister against the opposition, specifically the Congress Party. Joining us to look at this, Nasir Hussain, the Rajya Sabha MP of the Congress Party. Arjun Lal Meena, Udaipur Lok Sabha MP of the BJP. We are joined by Smita Prakash, the editor of ANI, and Smita Gupta, the senior editor. Thank you all very much for being with us. Nasir Hussain, sir, let me just quote what the Prime Minister said, because it started with this government's development agenda. It ended up being a stinging attack on the Nehru-Gandhi family. He said, if we miss out on mentioning Nehru anyway, they, the Congress, get upset. Nehru was such a great person, then why does none of them use the Nehru surname? How would you respond?
Vishnu, Prime Minister's speech was the most unfortunate part of this budget session. What was the issue? What is that the opposition that was raising in both the houses? What is it that is there in the public domain today? What is the issue that is being debated and discussed across the country and even abroad? What are the allegations against the Prime Minister and this government? Has he responded to any one of them? Again, the old things, Nehru-Gandhi family, Congress, and Kamal, Khilega, and all these things. Has he addressed the issue that is being raised?
Okay. All right.
Has he clarified himself? Has he tried to come clean on this?
Okay, let's
Has
get
he
an answer to
convinced
that. That's the basic debate.
That
and that's
the Prime Minister and the government is not involved in this scam.
okay. Let's get a response to that. That's
Is he
the
going
basic
to
question.
inquire into this scam?
Arjun Lal
This is what the nation was expecting.
What Nasir
of him
Hussain
today in
Saab is
Rajya
saying.
Sabha
I understand,
address.
sir. I understand. One sec. We'll keep coming back. Meena Saab, that's the key point. Was the Prime Minister deflecting from what the opposition was demanding? They wanted a JPC. They wanted an inquiry into the recent allegations which have been made.
सर हिंदी में बोलेंगे तो
नहीं
थोड़ा
जरूर
समझ
आप
में
हिंदी
आएगा।
में बोलिए, आप हिंदी में बोलिए।
जी हाँ, आप बताएं। हाँ, क्या
नहीं,
क्वेश्चन
मैं
है?
सिर्फ आपसे ये पूछ रहा हूं कि नसीर हुसैन साहब को कहना है कि पार्लियामेंट में, राज्यसभा में प्रधानमंत्री ने जो मुद्दा रहा है, मतलब एक जेपीसी का जो डिमांड रहा है ऑपोजिशन का, कांग्रेस का, उस बारे में उन्होंने कुछ कहा नहीं है, और दूसरे जो बात कर रहे थे वो रेलेवेंट नहीं है जो सवाल पूछे गए थे उस पे। तो इस पे बीजेपी का क्या रिस्पॉन्स है?
देखिए सर, सबसे पहले तो मैं आपको धन्यवाद देता हूं कि मुझे एक आदिवासी सांसद को एनडीटीवी से जोड़ने का जो आपने काम किया है, तो मैं बधाई देता हूं। माननीय देश के यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी कल उन्होंने राष्ट्रपति जी के अभिभाषण का धन्यवाद प्रस्ताव में वो बोल रहे थे और उन्होंने जितनी भी बातें की है वो माननीय महामहिम राष्ट्रपति जी के अभिभाषण के संदर्भ में ही बातें बोली है। अनर्गल अगर कोई बात कही है तो विपक्ष के नेताओं ने कही है, माननीय राहुल गांधी जी कांग्रेस के नेताजी ने बोली है और लोगों ने बोली है, लेकिन प्रधानमंत्री जी ने जो जो चर्चा पूरे 1.5 घंटे से अधिक समय तक जो धन्यवाद प्रस्ताव दिया है उसमें एक गांव गरीब का विकास किस तरह से कल्याणकारी योजनाओं के माध्यम से, चाहे वो प्रधानमंत्री आवास योजना हो, प्रधानमंत्री उज्ज्वला योजना हो, प्रधानमंत्री
मीना जी ये सब तो प्रधानमंत्री ने बताया, पर ये सारी ऑपोजिशन का जो डिमांड है कि एक जॉइंट पार्लियामेंट्री प्रोब होना चाहिए, उसका तो कोई जवाब नहीं दिया प्राइम मिनिस्टर ने। लोकसभा में नहीं दिया उन्होंने और राज्यसभा में ही नहीं दिया है।
सर कोई मुद्दा ही नहीं है तो जेपीसी का गठन कैसे हो सकता है जब कोई मुद्दा ही नहीं है। जो बात राहुल गांधी जी ने भी अपने वक्तव्य में अपने भाषण में बोला था उन्होंने कि मैं ये यात्रा मैंने कन्याकुमारी से शुरू की और श्रीनगर में इतने किलोमीटर चला, उसके बाद वो पूरी बात अडानी। सर अगर देश का विकास करना है, देश आगे बढ़ेगा, भारत आगे बढ़ेगा तो कोई न कोई तो उद्योगपति आगे आगे काम करेगा ना, उसमें गलत क्या हुआ।
ओके नासिर हुसैन, वुड यू लाइक टू रिस्पॉन्ड टू दैट? Somebody has to work. Why are you stalling? Information on that. Go ahead, sir.
मैं इतना ही बीजेपी के सांसद मेरे मित्र हैं, कमेटी में मेरे साथ हैं, मैं उनसे इतना ही पूछना चाहता हूं, क्या ये मानते हैं कि कोई स्कैम नहीं हुआ? क्या ये मानते हैं कि पब्लिक डोमेन में कोई बड़े स्कैम की खबर नहीं है, कोई रिपोर्ट नहीं है? क्या हम मानते हैं कि शेल कंपनीज नहीं थे? क्या हम मानते हैं कि अदानी जी को लेके प्रधानमंत्री पूरी दुनिया भर में नहीं घूमे? क्या हम मानते हैं कि श्रीलंका के सीएजी के रिपोर्ट में यहाँ के जिक्र हुआ कि यहाँ से सबसे बड़े आदमी का फोन जाता है कॉन्ट्रैक्ट दिलाने के लिए? क्या ये मानते हैं कि मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग हुआ है, यहाँ से पैसा बाहर गया है, वहां से बाहर से पैसा अंदर आया है? क्या ये मानते हैं कि ईडी, आईटी, सीबीआई जो पॉलिटिकल अपोनेंट्स को, एमएलएस, एमपीस, एमएलसीज को उठा के लेके जाती है, उनको हरास करती है, ब्लैकमेल करती है, टॉर्चर करती है, उनको इसकी खबर नहीं कि शेल कंपनीज ऑपरेट कर रहे हैं? क्या ये इस बात के बारे में इनको जानकारी नहीं है कि एसबीआई और एलआईसी का जो पैसा, जो गरीबों का पैसा है, आम आदमी का पैसा है, ये पैसा अदानी को दिलवाया गया है,
मीना जी आप जवाब देंगे
डूब रहा है? क्या ये नहीं एक मिनट क्या ये नहीं मानते हैं कि एसेट्स के खिलाफ
आपने 10 पॉइंट रेज की है, उनको एटलीस्ट एक जवाब देने दीजिए प्लीज। 1 सेकंड, गो अहेड अर्जुन लाल मीना, इस पे आपके क्या जवाब?
खत्म तो करो ना विष्णु जी।
जी हाँ सर, नासिर हुसैन जी हमारे मित्र हैं, अच्छे दोस्त भी है, हम कमेटी में साथ है, बहुत अच्छी बात है सर। लेकिन जितना जो बात माननीय सांसद जी ने कही है वो सारा पैसा जितना भी, चाहे वो जीएसटी का पैसा कलेक्ट करने का मामला हो या जितना भी जो भी पैसा आया है उसको तो गरीब कल्याणकारी योजनाओं में पैसा लगा है ना। आज गरीब कल्याणकारी जितनी भी योजना एक गरीब को आज़ादी के इतने वर्ष बाद, मैं जिस क्षेत्र से आता हूँ, आदिवासी क्षेत्र से आता हूँ, आज तक पक्के मकान नहीं मिले। 2 लाख के लगभग परिवारों को पक्का मकान मिला तो इन सब पैसों से मिला है। जो प्रधानमंत्री जनधन में खाते से जो सीधा पैसा उन गरीब कल्याणकारी बेनिफिशरीज के खाते में जाता है, तो ये तो अच्छे काम हुए। ऐसे जो भी बातें उन्होंने कही है वो माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी की या माननीय मोदी जी की सरकार ने गरीब लोगों के लिए करके दिखाया है। तो निश्चित रूप से मैं कह सकता हूं कि उन्होंने जो इस 23-24 का जो बजट उन्होंने पेश किया है और माननीय महामहिम राष्ट्रपति जी के भाषण,
आप जो सवाल जो सवाल है उसका कोई जवाब नहीं दे रहे हैं। मीना जी, नासिर हुसैन साहब ने कम से कम 10 पॉइंट रेज की है। उन्होंने कहा है, आपसे पूछा है कि आप ये मानते हैं कि इन्वेस्टिगेशन होना चाहिए, आप क्या मानते हैं कि ये शेल कंपनी है, आप ये मानते हैं कि क्रोनिक कैपिटलिज्म है, ये सवाल आपसे पूछा गया है और आप डेवलपमेंट के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं पर उनका सवाल का जवाब नहीं दे रहे। तो उस सवाल का जवाब देंगे आप ये बात मानते हैं या नहीं, वो जो कह रहे हैं?
नहीं सर, नहीं सर, अभी तो मैं कैसे मान लो, जब अब माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने अपने भाषण में कहा है, सब लोग अपनी बात कह रहे हैं, और इतने समय से जेपीसी की मांग अगर जायज बात होती तो जेपीसी का गठन हो जाता। तो मैं नहीं मानता हूं कि ये सब चीजें ये केवल जी।
Nasser साहब, Nasser Hussain, 1 second. Smita, I'll come back to both of you. Smita Prakash joins us.
Can I just
No, sir, I want to keep the strike rotating. I will come back to you. Rest assured. Like last night, we'll have. So Smita Prakash.
Okay.
I see Arjun Lal Meena's response being part of a deft strategy. Don't answer the direct question. Instead, get into election mode. Some would say that what the Prime Minister said yesterday, in addition to today, was the focus or will be the focus of the BJP in 2024. There's been a dark decade for 2004 to 2014, and now look at the development we've done. He spelled out a lot more, and the constant attacks on the Gandhi Nehru family. So, was this a response of the Prime Minister, or was this a political speech ahead of elections?
Well, quite right in that it's in election mode speech, but then there are elections to be held this year, several state elections, and it's the penultimate year before the next election. So yes, that's an election speech too, and the BJP is perpetually on an election mode, so that you can't take that. It's in their DNA. You can't take that out of them. As far as yesterday's speech and today's speech is concerned, I would like to just speak about this, the opposition screaming all through the speech, mostly all through the speech today and partially through yesterday. It's a zero-sum game. It's not the first time, before anybody can say this, it's not the first time that this tactic has been employed. Whichever party comes to the opposition, they employ this tactic, and they think that whichever party I'm talking about, they think it makes them attractive towards the electorate. It doesn't. I mean, Modi was not going to stop for them. Modi was going to say what he had to say. So if they didn't want that, and if they realized after 5 minutes or 10 minutes of sloganeering that he's not going to listen to them, he's going to continue with the speech. So either keep quiet and listen, or else leave this again and again, Adani Modi bhai bhai, Adani Modi bhai bhai. What does it do? It makes, like what Mr. Modi said, it makes it more attractive for the people who are on Modi's side to rope in more supporters, and then those who are fence sitters, they become pro-Modi. This is something that we have seen even in the last election when Rahul Gandhi went on Rafale, Adani, at that time it was Anil Ambani. At that time you saw what happened. There was a CAG report, there was Supreme Court, and what happened ultimately, that Modi comes out shining. So whether there is any, anything behind the fire or not, the fact is that attacking Modi all the time. Modi is Teflon, whether you like it or not, whether the Congress likes it or not. And what you were saying, Vishnu, I think without realizing it, or maybe with realizing it, the Congress has set the agenda for the opposition. May not be united opposition right now, but has set the agenda for the opposition for 2023 and 2024, which is corruption and Adani.
Okay. Smita Gupta, the other way of looking at it is that here we have a Prime Minister who brazens through two debates, or one in the Lok Sabha, one in the Rajya Sabha, and doesn't get anywhere close to answering the direct questions posed of him. So therefore, if the opposition, I think it was Derek O'Brien who said that the opposition is being stifled or censored, and that's also been used because lots of Rahul Gandhi's comments, for example, have been expunged. Is there no merit in that argument?
Well, the point is that Parliament, as I understand it, is not a wrestling pit where, you test out your strength. Neither is it some kind of college debate where the maximum applause or the maximum laughs decides the winner. This is where the representatives of the people, duly elected through the democratic process, make policy and raise issues of public concern. They must be accountable to those who voted for them, and they must answer the questions posed to them by the opposition, who have also been elected by the people. So the question today really is that, are the allegations being made by the opposition and their demand for a JPC are they, I mean, are those allegations true or are they not true? After all, even the life insurance company and the State Bank of India that holds the money of ordinary citizens, ordinary, even
Yes.
like the girl who cooks in my house, she wanted to know whether she should pull out her money from the State Bank. It is something which is, of concern to ordinary people. It's not just, for
And therefore it
corporates.
warrants an answer. That's the point you're
Therefore,
making.
it warrants an answer. You can't just ignore it completely. The
Okay.
PM is basically telling voters that, we don't care about your concerns at all. And not only is that happening, along with that, even the records are being scrubbed. We have seen 18 references made by opposition leaders to a possible connection between the government and Adani.
Right.
It is for the government to come clean. As I
Okay.
said, this is not a wrestling pit. It's not a college debate.
Okay. All right. The government needs to come clean.
And I'm sorry to say that. Can I just add one thing?
Yep.
I'm sorry to, no offense, Smita, but to say that just because he is Teflon coated, so what? People give up. People can't give up. That is the only thing I wanted to add. Thank you.
No, Smita Gupta, I mean, I take that point, but, from a political standpoint, the Prime Minister does at this juncture appear to be Teflon coated, confident enough not to answer a single question and repeating what he has in the past based on that confidence that you keep attacking me and politically I will gain. If this is all about politics at the end of the day, certainly for the BJP, then are they necessarily on a weaker wicket? Some would suggest no, not at all, that politically the BJP has not been dented by the allegations on Adani and the BJP and the Prime Minister.
The Prime Minister, unfortunately, I don't know whether he intended to, but he acknowledged that the BJP flourishes where there is dirt. Where he said that the lotus blooms in the dirt, in this dirt of corruption.
Okay. Okay.
And the more I'm not saying that the opposition is going about its job in the best possible way. I'm not suggesting that. But I'm saying that Parliament, we have seen the steady denigration of Parliament. And, the fact that the government owes the people of this country answers.
Okay.
If they are squeaky clean,
Smita,
I'm not
Smita, one
suggesting
sec. I get your
one way or
points.
the other. But he must answer these questions.
Your namesake wants to address some of the points. Smita, Prakash, go ahead.
Yeah, 2 points. Smita, when I said that he's Teflon coated, I don't mean to give a character certificate to the Prime Minister. What I mean to say is that allegations have been hurled at him in the past. They somehow never seem to stick. So hence, I said that he's Teflon coated, just like at one point of time they used to say about Dr. Manmohan Singh about the Tina factor, that there is no alternative. That doesn't mean that there were no alternatives, but they did not come up at that stage. So at this point, just like the Rafale allegations did not stick, similarly this hasn't. When it came to, if you recall Bofors, even at Bofors, nobody went to jail for Bofors, but those allegations stuck and Rajiv Gandhi's government fell. It was VP Singh who was considered the messiah of the middle class, and he really was no messiah of the middle class. What he brought about was the Mandal reforms, which were for the lower classes and for the suppressed classes. So, these are things which I'm talking about a perception. I'm not saying character certificate that he has no flaw and that is why he's Teflon. No. What I'm trying to say is, as far as the electorate is concerned, they see him as Teflon.
In fact, Nasir Hussain, why don't we talk a little bit
It is
about
only
that?
30%, for less than
Smita,
half
half
the
a second.
population.
I just want to go back to Nasir Hussain for a bit. Sir, I understand the point that you are trying to raise is one about the allegations of corruption. But I think the point that Smita Prakash raises is that are you not, through the arguments which you have been raising, are you necessarily strengthening yourself politically ahead of elections, for example, in Karnataka or in the run-up to 2024 with the allegations? Because the BJP and the Prime Minister seem to suggest that you're only strengthening us. The ED seems to have united the opposition more than anybody else. How would you respond to that?
Vishnu, why do you people think that every issue that is taken up in the parliament is only for positioning ourselves for a
Politically.
particular election.
Okay, fair point.
Why don't you see it as an issue? Why don't you see it as a scam? Why don't you see it as a financial mess up?
Sure.
Why don't you see it as high level corruption? Why don't you see it as some quid pro quo that has happened in this case? I would say the money that went out, whose money is it? Is it the money belonging to Adani or is it the money belonging to BJP? Why is the Prime Minister so scared about revealing who has donated in PM Cares? Where is the money coming for BJP? Where is the money coming from BJP to
Okay.
fight elections?
So let's get an answer.
Crores and crores of rupees.
So let's
Where is the money? Vishnu, you have to give me some time. When you have given the other panelists time, you have to give me some time. See, when they start destabilizing government by using central agencies, the kind of money that is used, where is this money coming from?
Okay.
BJP in 8 years rule, 9 years rule, builds corporate type officers from block level to Delhi. Where is the money coming from?
No, what? So you're suggesting that
Don't
the
you
money
think
comes,
that out of turn contracts, takers that has been given to Adani and the likes of Adani, that the BJP is getting money for that?
and what proof of this do you have?
And the point here is whatever the Prime Minister may say, whatever he may say against Nehru Gandhi family, against Congress, against 70 years of rule, against corruption and all, that does not absolve him of the allegations that are there against him today.
Okay,
You may
let's
talk about
okay,
Rafale.
one second.
See, what
Arjun
has
Lal
happened in
Meena-
Rafale? A country which
Okay,
has
one
spent
second,
more
one second.
money
Sir,
is
it
not
cannot be a
investigating,
monologue.
but a country that
We
has
have to
got
let-
more money is investigating.
No, one second, sir. Let Arjun Lal Meena respond as well. Meena साहब, नासिर हुसैन साहब को कहना है कि देखिए
जी
क्रोनी कैपिटलिज्म है, जो पैसा आता है कई डील से, उनको कहना है कि ये कहां से आ रहा है, किसको जा रहा है, ये डील्स कैसे किए जा रहे हैं, और शेल कंपनी के बारे में भी उन्होंने बताया, और बार बार यही कह रहे कि जो सवाल ऑपोजिशन ने कहा, कांग्रेस पार्टी ने कहा, कोई जवाब नहीं दिया प्रधानमंत्री ने, लोकसभा में नहीं, राज्यसभा में नहीं, और आप भी इस पे कोई जवाब आप खुद नहीं दे रहे।
जेपीसी कराने से दूध का दूध पानी का पानी हो जाएगा। सरकार क्यों डर रही है? प्रधानमंत्री क्यों डर रहे हैं उससे?
मीना जी बताइए, मीना जी बताइए।
सर मैं यही कहना चाह रहा हूं कि करप्शन तो यूपीए की सरकार में माननीय मनमोहन जी की सरकार 2004 से लेके जो 14 तक रही है, उसमें भ्रष्टाचार हुआ है, घोटाला हुआ है, आप एक से बढ़ के एक घोटाले हुए हैं।
कितना प्रूव किए आपने?
नासिर हुसैन साहब आपने क्या प्रूफ दिया है?
आपने
नासिर हुसैन साहब आपने क्या प्रूफ दिया है? ये सब एलिगेशंस है और आप खुद एलिगेशन शब्द इस्तेमाल कर रहे हैं।
आप जेपीसी करिए ना, प्रूफ मिलेगा। विष्णु जी जेपीसी करवाइए, सारा प्रूफ मिल जाएगा।
मीना साहब जेपीसी होना चाहिए, आप इस पे क्या कहेंगे?
मतलब सरकार क्यों डर रही? जेपीसी करवा दीजिए
सर।
पब्लिक डोमेन में इतना जब है मटेरियल,
जो गरीबों की जो स्थिति थी, आदिवासियों की जो स्थिति थी, एसटी एससी लोगों की जो स्थिति थी, उनमें कोई परिवर्तन नहीं आया। लेकिन पिछले 9 साल से आप देख रहे होंगे जो गरीब कल्याणकारी जितनी भी योजना बनी है भारत सरकार ने, जो मोदी जी की सरकार ने, आज हर आदिवासी, हर गरीब आदमी ये कह सकता है कि आज हमारा परिवर्तन हुआ है, आज हमें लाभ मिला है, हमारा जो जीवन स्तर है वो ऊंचा उठा है। तो ये जो कल्याणकारी योजनाएं जो मोदी जी की सरकार में जो चल रही है, उनको देखते हुए
लगता है कि मीना जी भी जो है मोदी जी की टैक्टिक्स अपनाए हैं।
नासिर साहब बी फेयर टू हिम, प्लीज, ही इज नॉट इंटरप्टेड यू।
मोदी जी की टैक्टिक्स अपनाए, इशू पे बात करेंगे, बाकी का सारे बात करेंगे।
हुसैन साहब, यू आर ऑल माय फ्रेंड्स, बी फेयर टू हिम, दैट्स नॉट, यू नेवर इंटरप्टेड यू फॉर हाफ अ सेकंड।
सर मैं तो
मीना साहब,
सर मैं तो जो मेरे क्षेत्र में मैं जो देख रहा हूं वो बता रहा हूं। तो मैं कह सकता हूं कि मोदी जी की सरकार में चहुमुखी विकास हुआ है, देश आगे बढ़ा है। आर्थिक दृष्टि से जो 10वें नंबर पे जो हमारा देश था वो आज विश्व में 5वें नंबर पे आए। तो ये सब चीजें कैसे हुई है? तो ये सब मोदी जी के अपनी नीतियों के कारण से हुई है। मोदी जी ने अपने काम करके दिखाया है, सरकार ने अपने काम करके दिखाया और जनता ने साथ दिया है। आज दूसरी बार फुल मेजोरिटी से जो सरकार बनी है 303 की, सांसद जीत के आए हैं, तो जनता ने आशीर्वाद दिया है। सर अगर जनता इससे खुश नहीं होती तो सेकेंड बार फुल मेजोरिटी नहीं देती। तो मैं कह सकता हूँ नासिर हुसैन साहब
मीना जी एक सेकंड, मीना जी एक सेकंड, नसर हुसैन को
आने वाले 2024.
No, but Hussain Saab, the point is this. I understand that you say that the Prime Minister has not answered your questions, but you have failed also in taking on what the Prime Minister has said when he's spoken about the Congress having made potholes in the last 60 years or having failed in terms of development, and in citing all these examples now. Why does the opposition not want to, or the Congress not want to talk about this and these allegations at all?
Well, Vishnu, what are the allegations?
The allegations
What
are that
the allegations?
the allegations are
Blanket
so many.
allegations, no
The allegations
development.
are that your
Do you
development
think-
projects
you-
are
you
not
tell-
long lasting.
You tell as an anchor, was there no development in the last 60 years?
No, I'm
Do you think only development has
it's
taken
not what,
from
it's not what I
2014 till
think or
now?
it's not what I think or
You
I
tell.
don't think.
Have
I'm only asking
development
you,
taken place only from
why are you
2014
not
till
willing
now?
to respond to the Prime
Was there
Minister's
no
allegations
foundation
either?
laid in this country? Was there no foundation laid in this country? There was no infrastructure development, there was no schools, there were no colleges, there were no universities, there were no public sector units that had come up in the country. From 0 to 4% in Nehru's time itself GDP growth. And so much of employment. Where were we in 1947 and where did we leave India in 2014? Forget about 6 years of Vajpayee also. So nothing had happened in the country. Everything is happening only after 2014. Even they go to the extent of telling Azadi bhi mili 2014 se. What nonsense is this? And the Prime Minister is saying, kuch nahi hua, as if he is only the as if he is the only person, only leader or only Prime Minister in the country who is doing everything.
Okay.
Let there be a debate on what we did in 55, 60 years and what they have done.
All right, but I think they would welcome that debate. But half a second, Smita Prakash, I do think that there is an important point that Nasser Hussain sort of made a little while back. The point that he was saying is that, it's why do you assume that in Parliament, what the opposition is saying is only to position itself from a political standpoint? We have a genuine concern in the opposition. We are raising allegations of corruption. So we don't really necessarily link this with elections. So do you see this as a different political strategy? This is not what is going to be the election agenda necessarily for the opposition. They just want an answer now.
Oh, yes, it is. It's very much a political thing. And if it's political, it's electoral also. You cannot separate the two, Vishnu. I think to say that this is not connected with the elections, I think that's ridiculous. Even in this month, there are going to be elections. And I'd like to see one election speech by anybody from the opposition where they don't hurl this in their election speech. Of course they will. And the strategy of the BJP is going to be to ignore it. I mean, that is how it's going to play out in the next couple of months. If there is an inquiry and it's an institutional inquiry, well and good. But that is exactly how BJP is going to react, and that's exactly what the opposition is going to say. It's going to get more and more elaborate as far as allegations are concerned. Some of them might turn around and say, yes, give some figures which are available in open source. But the other things like, वो Modi ji Adani को हर जगह लेके जाते हैं. अब Modi ji public transport तो नहीं लेते ना. He takes Air India One. So all that is needed is put an RTI, get the manifest. You will know whether Adani has climbed onto Air India One ever since 2014. That's all that's needed. So there's this wild allegation Pradhan Mantri leke jate hain. It doesn't take much to find out which are the hotels that the Prime Minister has been staying in, and did Government of India pick up the tab for Adani if he lived in any of these hotels. Not very difficult to find out, but making these allegations on television studios, it just sounds very sexy, but if I'm allowed to say that word, but it doesn't hold much credence, when these kind of comments are made. As far as Mr. Modi is concerned,
half a second,
Vishnu,
Hussain
this
Saab,
is
I
how
will let
he
you
has
come
been
to me.
dealing with the opposition, whether in Gujarat or whether in the center.
Okay, Hussain Saab, go ahead.
I think the funniest part here is Smita Prakash is going all the way to defend the Prime Minister and the current government. I think that
she disagrees with you, sir.
I mean, you
can interpret it. We journalists are targeted all the time, sir. She disagrees with you, sir.
Hold on, Vishnu, hold on. That's my opinion. That's my opinion about her. her defense.
No,
That's my
but you
opinion.
said
I
the
have a
same
right
thing
to have
about
an
me
opinion.
yesterday also, that I was
I have a
defending the
right to have an
Adanis. I'm
opinion.
not. I'm only asking questions,
No, no.
and she's
See,
making
I
a
have-
point.
Vishnu,
So let's
I
not
have-
make this a personal sort of thing.
Vishnu,
You know,
I
I mean,
have a right to have an opinion
no, of
about
course
this
you do. But
statement
I'm
made on your debate.
I'm voicing my
Anya,
disagreement
she
with
is
your
defending
opinion.
the Prime Minister.
Anyway, carry on.
She is defending the Prime Minister. She is defending the BJP. She is defending the government.
She's defending
so
a point
I
of
think I have
view,
a
sir.
right to have an opinion on that.
Anyway,
and
go ahead,
Point
yeah.
number two, she thinks there is no scam. She thinks there are no shell companies. She thinks there's nothing in the public domain.
Did
to
I
see
say that?
They say that there
Did
is
I
a
say
scam.
that?
She thinks.
No, you
she
are
thinks-
making a
she
misrepresentation.
thinks- she
I did
thinks-
not
she
give a
thinks-
clean chit to
Can
anybody.
I complete? Can I
You-
complete?
no,
Can I complete,
you are-
please? Can I complete?
you are
I didn't
giving a
interrupt.
wrong
Can I complete?
interpretation to what I
Can
said.
Can I complete? I
Mr.
didn't
Hussain,
interrupt.
you're giving a wrong
I didn't
interpretation.
interrupt when
No,
you
but
were
Hussain
speaking.
Saab, Hussain
No,
Saab,
you
Smita has a
cannot
point.
interrupt when you are
She didn't
speaking.
say
You are
that.
interpreting
after
me
me.
She did
wrong.
not.
You
She
can
did
speak
not
after
say
me.
that, sir.
You can speak after I finish. You can speak after I finish. See,
No.
Smita thinks.
You cannot
that
decide
the-
how I
that the
speak and when
shares
I
were
speak.
Not, value of the shares were not inflated. Smita thinks out of term.
Did I say
contracts
that?
and tenders
Did I
were not
even
Hussain Saab,
utter the
Hussain
word
Saab,
shares?
she's- you
I
can't-
didn't
you
even
can't-
utter the
report.
You
word
can't
shares.
say. You can't
There
imply
no
without
report.
her
I did
having
not.
said that. No, that's
There
a
is
bit
no
unfair.
mention of an Indian leader in the CAG report of Sri Lanka.
Not
Smita
even
thinks
once
that the
did I
money that
use
is
the
given
word
by
shares.
LIC
No, but she's not one second.
and
She's not-
SBI was
she's
due
not said that,
diligently
sir.
was due diligence
Arey,
was
again
done.
and again.
She thinks
No,
she
Hussain
thinks that
Saab,
everybody-
Hussain Saab, I have to
making a little bit
interject.
of a
I'm sorry,
mistake
I'm
out
sorry,
here.
Hussain Saab, one second,
I
one
wish you would
second.
have been hearing. You're
One
probably
second,
taking
she
part
has
in
not.
two debates
She has
simultaneously.
talking about
reply.
the flight manifesto
Vishnu,
of
she can
Air Force
reply.
One, of the Indian Air Force One aircraft, and she has said from 2014 to now,
she
has there
can
been any
reply after I
occasion
finish.
in which the Adanis have travelled? She asked that question. She asked about hotels as well, whether
Shall I
somebody
finish?
picked up the tab for
Vishnu,
Gautam
shall I
Adani's
finish?
travel. She's
Shall-
raised those
Vishnu,
two points
shall I
which I
finish?
remember.
No, Vishnu, shall I complete? Shall I complete? Can I complete?
Yeah, please do.
Can I complete, please? No, the problem is, as a journalist, as an analyst sitting here, doesn't see that there's a scam, that doesn't mention about what is there in public domain, doesn't defend the money of the common man that is invested in LIC and SBI. She doesn't want to question all that. She says that since it is only Mr. Modi, since she has got...
Okay, one second. Now that's a deeply personal attack. Smita has a right to respond to that. One
So he
second.
can do anything.
Hussain Saab, look, let's
he
not
can-
get
he
personal,
can
but
do
now that you
anything.
have mentioned that, Smita Prakash has the right to respond if she wants to. Smita, go ahead.
Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Yeah. No, I don't. I have no intention of defending myself against something which I haven't even said, and I only spoke about two things which you pointed out, which I also said, that one is about Air India and the two was about hotel. I did not mention anything about shares, and I started even in the beginning when Smita was speaking that I am nobody to give a clean chit to anybody, whether it is her cook who is not having confidence in LIC, or a person like Mr. Meena who says that he's got homes or his constituents have got homes, or Mr. Nazir Hussain who feels that nobody in India has benefited since 2014 and all the development has happened before that. All of you are welcome to give character certificates. I am not. I'm not even giving a character certificate to the Prime Minister, which I began by saying that. All I'm saying is the perception in the country,
I didn't say that
thanks
nobody
to
has
the two
benefited after
elections.
2014.
Okay,
I
one
said
second,
that
both of you
lots
half a
development
second.
was
I just
done
want to
before
go across to
2014
Smita
also.
Gupta, who's been waiting very patiently. Smita, just the point on whether this issue is going to be the dominant theme, corruption as far as the opposition is concerned, this year, Karnataka and other places, and going forward to 2024. Do you believe this is the opposition or certainly the Congress agenda? It's been in the past with Rafale. Is this now going to be what it is going forward?
Well, I certainly think for the moment that the opposition is going to keep this issue of corruption, alleged corruption, front and center. Now, I mean, we still have a whole more than a year to go for the general elections. We'll have to see how this issue really pans out, whether more information comes into the public domain, and whether it becomes useful or it backfires on the opposition. But certainly, I think in the upcoming state elections, it will play out. It will play out.
All right.
Because that's a conversation I had today with several opposition MPs. They feel that it is working for them, and not necessarily only from the Congress party,
Right.
even some of the other opposition parties.
All right. Well, look, we'll wrap this up this evening. I'd like to thank you all very much for being with us. We'll continue to looking closely, to debate these issues very closely, the allegations of corruption and how the BJP responds.